Hello class, this is Mr. Roberts, and this is a look at the study team test for Chapter 4. Hey, congratulations. Most of you as study teams did a really good job, and I think you've probably set the stage well for doing well on the individual test for Chapter 4. As I go through this, there's a couple errors that I saw, not consistent errors, but there were a couple errors where some people missed points, teams missed points, and I'll try and highlight those things. So if you really focus on when I'm talking about errors, you try and pay attention to that to avoid those things when you're taking the individual test. So on the first question here, A was missed. I think if any question was missed, this was missed by I wouldn't say many, but quite a few teams. And basically, it comes down to a question of what is getting squared. And on this, if you look at this function machine, it says y is equal to the value of x squared plus 4 times the value of x. And what I invariably saw was students would write something like this incorrectly. They would write -2 squared. That is incorrect because it's not, that's read as the opposite of 2 squared. So if you look at that, that has the value of -4. And in a way, I was kind of relieved because many of you did write down then that was -4 after that. But the thing is it's not -2 that's, it's not 2 that's getting squared and then the opposite of it. It is x is getting squared. What is x? X is -2. So the correct way to show that with notation and then get the correct value for it is like this, right? -2 is x. So you can see I've used parentheses, so I'm communicating that x in its entirety, both the fact that it's a -1 and times a +2, -2 is getting squared. And when I square that, I do get -2 times -2, which is +4. So this becomes +4. And then to that, I'm adding, and I'll put it up here, 4 times a -2. Right, so I'm adding to that a -8. So this becomes 4 plus -8, or 4 minus 8, which is -4. So the correct answer for that is -4. I don't think anyone missed B. Maybe a couple. Maybe. There's about 40 teams that we have in all 4 sections. Actually, not 40 teams, it's 36 teams. And I think maybe one team missed this question. So the question is, what value of x makes the output of this function 120, right? So I'm putting something in, and the question is, what value of x will produce an output of 120? So I'm just writing this as, hey, I'm curious, when is 1/3 times x plus 10? When is that 120? And of course, to solve that, I would begin by there's a lot of things you could do. I chose to multiply everything by 3 first. It's probably not necessary, but that's what I did. 120 times 3 is 360, and 1/3 x times 3 is just x. And then if I take 10 times 3, I do get 30. Of course, there's other things that we could have done, right? We could have just as easily subtracted 10 from both sides first, but I chose to multiply all the terms on both the left and the right hand side by the number 3. Next, if I take away 30 from both sides, I'm going to get that 330 is what x is. So x is 330. And if I bring that back in and try it, right, 1/3 times 330 is going to be 110. Right, 1/3 times 330 is 110, and if I add 10 to that, I do indeed get 120. So it checks. So x, the value of x is what produces an output. The value of x equals 330. 330 produces an output of 120 for that function. So over here, x is 330. So that's question number 1.